Money on my mind, gotta hustle and grind. Financial literacy always on my mind. I'm stacking knowledge, no time to waste. Gotta invest smart, gotta keep up the pace. I'm reading books, learning all the tricks, studying the market, making calculated picks.
What is good, folks? How are we doing? Hopefully well. It's another great episode of Crypto Portfolio Updates. Want to remind everybody on the way in to hit the like button. For those of you who have been here more than twice watching from the back, go ahead and officially join the Wolfpack. Smash that subscribe button. Hit the bell notification while you're at it. Make sure to turn all notifications on so you catch these as they premiere. First thing in the morning, trying to get your minds right on the way to work. For the Wolfpack, those of you who are in the room, shout outs to you. Make sure to share the video. You can share it while it's premiering. They can watch it later. We want to get out into the algorithm. Gonna have a pretty important topic. We got some big things moving in the crypto space and some stuff that is not surprising to me at all with what we've seen so far. Obviously, you follow the money, follow the trail, follow what's happening, what's being done in the space. And we're going to get to it, but first let's go ahead and get all the stuff that you guys show up here for out of the way, the portfolio updates. First and foremost, we want to give a shout out to CoinGecko for all of this amazing information. Bitcoin at the time of this recording, which is Tuesday, May 27th in the evening hours. We put in a solid 10 hours of work, came home, sat down, had my dinner because I don't eat enough food, so I had to make sure to get my dinner in. Had my dinner, had a little 30-minute break time, played and lost a couple of rounds of Magic the Gathering Arena. Yes, I am on there. So if you guys come across and actually play Reckless Raid and Arrow, that's actually me. Played and lost a couple of matches, had dinner while my dinner was cooking, had dinner, had a little rest time during the dinner. I give myself like a little 30 minutes. That's when I get to watch a little bit of TV. I get to watch one episode of a show. We're currently working through the new season of Big Mouth. Quality and hilarious. And then I jumped on here. So Bitcoin. Over the weekend, I was told it was going to 103 by Sunday. Unfortunately, that friend's source... My first question was mathematically, how does that work? Does he know all the institutions and their decision to not buy? But obviously they didn't because we didn't get any. It went down. You could have just said, "Oh, it's going to go down." Like that would actually at least save some grace when you start giving actual numbers and dates, which I respect. I'm like, hey, if you think you got it like that and your charts are so good, put a date on it, a number and a date. I respect numbers and dates. You're just going to be wrong with Bitcoin. Never bet against Bitcoin. We did go down. We're down right now. At present, Bitcoin is at $108,960. And that's the story, and we're sticking to it. Which we peaked out at about 110. I saw it at 110 throughout the day. We're down to 108. Market is shaky. We're going sideways. We're in price discovery. We're hitting some ceilings. Looks like we're getting some higher lows. As we're hitting the ceiling, we're trending. It gets a little bit boring. Apparently, if the price just doesn't go straight up, everybody gets worried and shooketh. I'm not that worried about it. Bitcoin dominance is at 60.7%. Ethereum dominance is at 9.02%. Gas fees are currently at 1.325 Gwei. A little bit pricey. Some stuff's going on Ethereum. And I say a little bit pricey, it's still sub $10, well under $10 transaction fees. Like I used a little bit of it over the weekend. I can't say the value proposition of not having to spend over $10 or the amount that I was spending to do smart contract interaction in DeFi. Like it was like $1 something. And I chuckled and felt so good about it. Ethereum's actually become usable this year. I know that every update, it seems like the gas fees go down a little bit. And I'm appreciative for it. It's getting, I mean, I think a lot of stuff is going to be consolidating back down to home, because the only reason that, and I told people this when I was heavy in yield farming, the only reason we're using L2s is because Ethereum is so expensive that those of us who are not like hundreds of thousands of dollars in these protocols, it's not worth it. Like, if you're not collecting thousands of dollars, it's not worth paying $50 to get money moved around. Like, now you got to wait till it's $1,000, like or something. Having the fees being so far at like around $1, $2, maybe $5, like that's okay. I mean, I don't like it, but it's way more acceptable of a fee than $50 and having to wait for it to be like $1,000 or over $500 to justify even making the transaction happen. Because I'm not trying to throw away money on fees. Like, it's death by 1,000 cuts. So I'm excited about that. Moving on, top trending tokens, coins, if you would. As of this recording, we have Cetus Protocol Wallet Connect token, which is interesting. I've used that function before. I wonder if they did an airdrop. And last but not least, Hyper Liquid. Moving on to the top 5 gainers and losers in the last 24 hours. You know, we got a little sideways market, but there's some quality stuff going on here. At number 1, we have at rank 387 Teller Tributes, Teller Tributes, with a gain of 53.6% in the last 24 hours. At number 2, at rank 523, we have BC Game Coin, with a gain of 44.9% in the last 24 hours. At number 3, we have at rank 566 Undead's Games, with a gain of 33.3% in the last 24 hours. At number 4, we have at rank 532 Baby Boom Token, with a gain of 32.7% in the last 24 hours. Last but not least, rounding out the top 5 gainers, we have Wallet Connect token with a gain of 29.5% in the last 24 hours. On the top losers list, hopefully you're not over here, but if you are, it's looking like it's healthy retracement. Maybe it's an opportunity for you to dollar cost average in. It looks like there's a bunch of meme coins. Maybe you're just losing it all. Who knows? At number 1, we have at rank 904, we have Nobody Sausage, with a loss of 25.2% in the last 24 hours. At number 2, we have at rank 349 Launch Coin on Believe, with a loss of 23.8% in the last 24 hours. At number 3, we have at rank 668 Moonpig, with a loss of 21% in the last 24 hours. At number 4, we have at rank 784 Revox, with a loss of 19.9% in the last 24 hours. Last but not least, at rank 231, we have Zebic Network, with a loss of 16.1% in the last 24 hours. Oh, geez. All right, and then a little housekeeping before we kick over. We're going to look and see where we're at. On the 24-hour, we're up 2.8% on the portfolio. Overall, we are down 17.6%. Still in the red, less in the red. Let's not complain and be joyful that we're at least moving what's left of this portfolio in the right direction. Going to be a little bit of a different reading today because we've been having some moves. At number 1, we have Solana, SOL. At number 2, we have Thorwallet, DEX, TGT. At number 3, we have Ethereum, ETH. At number 4, we have Aave, AAVE. At number 5, we have Radium, RAY. At number 6, we have Superverse, SUPER. At number 7, we have Jupiter Perpetual Liquidity Providers Token, JLP. at number 9 or at number 8. Oh, my bad. At number 8, we have Injective INJ. At number 9, we have Akash Network AKT, and last but not least, at number 10, we have Avax Avalanche AVAX. Moves that have been made. Thorwallet DEX is on a tear. We were bouncing around 1 cent. It has moved up to 3 cents, which is nice. Personally, we're planning on doing a little bit of chopping into at around, I'd say, 5 cents. Because I've seen it at 5 cents. I've seen it higher than 5 cents. Actually, let's go ahead and take a look and see what the all-time high on this is. All-time low. All-time high is 13 cents from 3 years ago. Got up to 13 cents. Now, we've been mining and doing a lot of holding on this position specifically. And, I bought into it because we were using the platform. We are currently using Squid for most of our DeFi transactions, specifically transitioning from within DeFi into Bitcoin. Squid provides a better, it's not necessarily better, but it's easier for me to use. It's a more native scenario because I can swap directly out into my Bitcoin wallet, send my Bitcoin back over to Cash App and get money. Like, it just makes it easy for me to transition the Bitcoin that I bought earlier in the year, that I moved into crypto, into DeFi, the stuff that we transitioned out as we've been skimming. I found a more efficient way to leave the market. So we've been using that, but I still have quite a lot of Thorwallet DEX staked because it also is generating money. Right now, it is above 50% yield on my staked Thorwallet, on my staked TGT. So not only am I getting paid out on this position, it's quite the tool. I get lower fees on Thorwallet DEX when I use it. Yeah, it's playing out well, but we're going to probably take our first scalp and transition that over into income at about 5 cents, because that'll be, I got most of mine at a penny or below, around in those areas. And also early on, I was cycling some of that DeFi income into these positions as well. So now that we're keeping the positions that we had some stuff that was on the table to scalp. I'm thinking probably once every month or two, we'll go through and route through what we've got in the DeFi hopper. I might compound my Thorwallet DEX while we're doing the run, and then just so that way I have more tokens, because even at 3 cents, if I buy it at 3 and we start DCAing a little bit, taking a little bit here and there, once we get to 5 cents, because I believe that we can see 5. I've seen it before. It didn't seem like it was that big of a deal. Obviously, most of those tokens are staked because you're only seeing $156,000 and $156,212 in the 24-hour volume. But that's a winning play for me. A very good winning play. Other things I'm looking at once we turn the spigot back on to buy more Ethereum, I am planning on probably scooping up more Aave. I'm also, at these prices, I'll have to check what my entry is, potentially looking at some more Superverse. And I think that's about, I might get some more GMX, always in the market for some more Chainlink as well. But I think that's basically what we're looking at doing. Like, I've got my eyes laser set on a couple of things, and then we're going to be doing some transitioning over into the income portfolio, because that income portfolio has rapidly become what I would say a pivotal piece of my strategy, because that's what's going to get me into a work optional / retired state the quickest and most efficient with the least amount of risk. Also, it'll up the amount of Bitcoin that I can just buy, because like once we start hitting some metrics over there, we can start turning the spigot back on to buy crypto again. So we're laser focused on getting our income up We normally use previous bull runs. We've used DeFi. Previous bull runs, we did not have high yield dividend income opportunities at all. So now that we've got that tool on the table, I like it. I like how it works. It makes sense. And coming from yield farming, I can do that. The volatility does not bother me because it is way less volatile than yield farming. Like there's no impermanent loss. Like you don't have to worry about coins going to nothing. And yes, as far as yield farming goes, like some of them, it is, how do I put it? The APY, the APR, the percentage, the yield that you're getting is higher, but also you're ratcheting up the risk to insane amounts. Also, you're dealing with impermanent loss, which I don't like. Like it's like NAV erosion on steroids, to be honest, is the best way that I could put it. And you don't know when it's going to strike. Like it's not like, oh, you got paid. Like that's what it is. It's like, hey, you go back to check your farm and it's just like, oh, you're out of range. Also, all you have are these tokens and it's been sitting for God knows how long, not doing anything. It's real annoying. So yeah, we did that. We sold off the injective that we were going to scalp out to get over into the income portfolio. So that cash infusion is actively being deployed this week. And you'll hear all about that on the portfolio update at the beginning, coming the first week of the month, which will be first week of June. Rolling into that June Misty payment with our prayers and hats in hand. And yeah, so we've been making some moves. I'm kind of feeling out what I want to, the positions I want to be in for the rest of the run, what I'm going to put money in once we turn the crypto spigot back on for the run. And, being thankful for where we're at, thankful for what we've got going on. The positions that we have left that are producing income, they're doing their job, more or less. And yeah, we're just kind of riding it out. We're shifting that DeFi income over to the TradFi income portfolio. I think this is partially how people just become Bitcoin maxis. You just start looking at what works. You start letting the law of large numbers take over, and the next thing you know, you're condensing and condensing and condensing, and like all roads lead to Bitcoin. Everything's based around Bitcoin, more or less. There are a couple of little things sprinkled in. Palantir's got my attention in my eye. There's a little bit of money to be made on that. It's got the volatility that I'm looking for. But that aside, everything else is crypto Bitcoin based, but it's primarily Bitcoin based because MicroStrategy, that whole ecosystem, is just what it is. So moving on, we're going to have a little conversation today, people. We're going to have a little conversation. It's kind of an important. Let's see here. You only have a little bit more time to acquire Ethereum cheaply. And the reason I say this is because while I like to claim, I am so bullish and pro Bitcoin long term, I am also very bullish and pro Ethereum long term because I come from the DeFi space. So like I know the value proposition that it has. I know what it has to offer. I know the life-changing opportunities it offers in conjunction to Bitcoin during the halving cycle. And I know that it's not going away. And I know that there's a lot of money sitting on it. And I'm like, everybody's complaining about the Ethereum price. People are talking about all these different dog and poo coins and a cat with a hat. And I mean, I guess if you're desperate and trying to get rich tomorrow, then I am not the guy for you. Like nothing we do over here is get rich tomorrow. It's get rich in 5-10 years. Actually, it's not even get rich in 5 to 10 years because I'm going to be retired before I'm rich, which is actually going to be rather humorous. I don't know. I mean, I'll be doing pretty well, but I'll be under $1 million net worth most likely, and I won't have to go to work. So it's more like we're trying not to go to work in 5 to 10 years. We're fast tracking the not have to go grind our bodies down, and optimizing, speeding up and increasing the velocity of our income. With that said, I am a big advocate for Ethereum. I like it. I understand the value proposition of it. I value it not necessarily as highly as Bitcoin, but it's a strong second, very strong second. So acquiring it, I have a hefty goal. I want to have 32 Ethereum. I am not at 32 Ethereum, but I've got a few. Like, like having a little cache of Ethereum, not too bad. Once we turn the spigot back on, we will hopefully be able to start working at that. But we've only got so much time before we get priced out of Ethereum. And I'm so happy that I got over my hurdle of one whole one in a more efficient fashion than what I did with Bitcoin, because once things start moving, they start moving, my friend. We have the announcement of the first Ethereum company doing an Ethereum treasury play. Now I understand, Bitcoin's scarce. There's only so many. Ethereum, there's so much Ethereum burned that actually Ethereum becomes deflationary. I'm pretty sure Ethereum is deflationary already. I know it has been previously. The more transactions that go on the network, the more Ethereum is burned. There's more burn than what comes into the ecosystem. So it makes it so that Ethereum, like Bitcoin, is also a deflationary deal. And if you look at how much DeFi activity is going on Ethereum, there's a lot of Ethereum getting burned, people. So that's something to keep in mind. But we have a company that has launched a plan to do an Ethereum treasury strategy, which is what MicroStrategy did with Bitcoin. We now have the first company, the first mover that's going to do the same play with Ethereum. And me personally, I'm excited about it. It is SharpLink, which those of you in the crypto space will probably be familiar with this. I am not the first to break this news. I saw it this morning and I'm recording about it this evening because I was like, hey, that is pretty awesome. And it's something that we're going to look at because for those of us who are in America, it's a publicly traded company. The ticker symbol is on the NASDAQ right now as we speak. It is SBET, SBET. I am not going to be making a move on this right now, and I'll tell you why. Last Friday, the 23rd of May, this stock was trading at $7. Per the announcement this morning, it spiked to $50. It is now sitting at $35. I am not going to buy another all-time high. They got Metaplanet got me. I FOMO'd Metaplanet. I will not be FOMOing this because I've seen the way that Metaplanet moves. I will be eyeing, and I might start putting some dry powder over in because I want an Ethereum treasury in there with my long-term with my MicroStrategy because Ethereum is my second place. So if there's a company that's doing the exact same thing MicroStrategy is doing with Ethereum, difference being with Ethereum, if they're going to have a treasury that holds Ethereum, they can stake it. Ethereum has a yield. Actually, I'll tell you exactly what the yield is. Ethereum staking yield. The estimated current rate of reward for staking Ethereum is around 2.67% a year. Now, it's not that much, but it's on an asset that goes up in value. Also, unlike Bitcoin, you can get yield on it. So that means that they can have a treasury asset that's not only going up, it's also producing yield, which means that now you have something that's growing. And I think that is amazing. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to buy it at 35. I'm not doing it. I'm telling you, I'm looking in the camera right now. I won't be doing it. You will not see this on the portfolio update, most likely, because I doubt it's going to go back down, and I'll look for it at 10. That's where Reckless Ray is looking. I'm looking for it at 10. I'll pay $3 more than $7, but I'm not paying what, $25 more? Like, no, they don't even have the Ethereum yet. Nope, you're not getting me. You're not getting me. Metaplanet, I'm willing to take the ride because I bought the falling sword, or I thought I was balling. Well, I bought the falling knife on that one to get that into the portfolio. But I'm also a ETH holder, so I think that strategy is going to be amazing. They're going to start buying, and inevitably, especially if the performance, if they do what MicroStrategy did, somebody will copy it, and then somebody else will copy it, and eventually you'll have 12 institutions that have an Ethereum strategy, and then Ethereum's price is going to spike hard. It's going to most likely be the catalyst, at least the media catalyst, for why people are buying Ethereum. Like, it's an order of magnitude at this juncture less expensive than Bitcoin. You still have that sense of getting in early. People can still scrounge up enough money to get a whole one. Your average Joe, unless he has a plan, is not going to get to 1 Bitcoin. And it used to be super important. Now I'm telling people you need to get to 0.25 Bitcoin. 0.25 Bitcoin, you're good. In my opinion, right now, if it's running to 1 million. I mean, I tell people to get a hold of as much as you can. And I'm still an advocate for that. But, people can piece together how to get a whole Ethereum. You can get a few Ethereum. Like, I don't see how anyone, like, my goal personally, I'm trying to get to 32, and I'm still actively on that mission. But we've only got so much time left. This market, and I'm speaking about this market as in crypto, because everybody who knows me, I use TradFi. I'm not an advocate. I don't like it. I don't like controlled systems. I don't like middlemen. I don't like people getting in between me and the things that I want to do with my money, especially considering no one gets in your way when you go get a basket weaving degree that you can never pay back with federal loans. Nobody stops you from anyone. Well, actually, when I bought my house, I did have to take a test. So, like, I guess you could be too stupid to buy a house. Nobody stops you from gambling. You gamble your whole existence away. You can lose your kids, your house, your wife, everything. No one says anything about that. But if you want to do something to better yourself, all of a sudden now it's dangerous. Now what you do with your money is dangerous. Okay. Well, I don't like that. This market, this space, this crypto space, and I've been here since 2013. So I know that everybody hates authority figures, but I've been here for all of but 13 years of this ride, or all but 4 years of this ride. And it was supposed to be removing the middlemen. Well, they're all here now. And what they're going to do is they're going to price you out of everything. And I don't like being the doom and gloom guy, because I'm like, yo, we trying to get rich over here. And I know that I'm good. I got my winning lottery tickets. I'm good. What I see is a bunch of people ignoring or ignorantly just chasing dog and poop coins, and they're ignoring what the big money is doing. They're ignoring what the institutions are doing. BlackRock has already started very quietly accumulating a lot of Ethereum. I don't know what else to say to people, but like, hey, like, cool, some of these other plays, like, great. What are you going to do with that? Oh, I'm long whatever. Okay. Why? What's the dog coin going to do for you? Like, I mean, I remember all the buy the dip on the Doge people that were just buying all the way down. They don't talk about crypto at all anymore. None of them do. They were talking big and beating their chests on Facebook for the longest time. They don't talk about it anymore because they lost money. And rightfully so. They feel stupid. Rightfully so. When they could have been buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. You could have your own random third. I'm not going to be judgmental on your third, but Bitcoin and Ethereum should be your two primary, and it should be Bitcoin then Ethereum. I mean, I could understand people who flip-flop it depending on when you got in, because if you're in right now, it might be Ethereum and then Bitcoin. But like those are the ones, like they're not going away. The adoption is there, the use case is there. The reason I don't put XRP in that list, it can be a third and there is a play to be made. But me personally, I'm looking for the XRP, the Ripple stock. When that stock comes out, those are going to be the people that get stupid rich. That's all I'm saying. Because the stuff that they're doing in the background, they're going to be making a lot of money. They're going to be making a lot of money. And I wouldn't be surprised or remiss if they have some sort of, and moving forward, you're going to see this, hybridized strategies. Ripple, the company, when they go public, when we can buy that stock, I would be willing to put dollar amount bets that they will have a hybridized treasury that holds Bitcoin, depending on how SharpLink does, Ethereum, and their own coin, XRP, to help boost the token price of their own coin. I'm throwing it out there. And then you will see a bunch of companies start to mix and converge and finding those good mixes of long standing. Because like the Ripple token, I don't think it's going away. I think the value proposition is going to be in the stock. That's just my own personal opinion. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to scoop up some XRP for the run, because I do think it has some headwind. And I know that like the XRP head people are going to go bananas on it, and like I can use that and buy some more Ethereum and Bitcoin on the run. That doesn't mean that it's not going to last, especially if XRP does a treasury play with their own coin. But I think you're going to start seeing hybridized strategies where they're going, hey, we're going to have on the balance sheet a 40-20, a 40-60 split XRP, or not XRP, a 40-60 split Bitcoin and Ethereum, or a 20-20 60 split Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, or whatever. There's also a company that's doing the exact same strategy out of, I believe it's Canada, with Solana. So like this is going to be interesting, the way that these companies can manipulate their balance sheet and monetize those balance sheets. Like it's not just sitting in bonds and holding dollars and slowly going broke anymore. It's not going to be giving money away. I think that the age of the dividend might be coming to an end, because the only reason that you would need to pay a dividend is if you are trying to eliminate volatility. If we go into a state where everybody wants high vol, then you're going to have a bunch of micro strategies. You're going to have a bunch of sharp links. You're going to have a bunch of meta planets. You're going to have a bunch of, when Ripple goes public, a bunch of Ripples, and they're all going to have different plays on their balance sheet for how that's going to function. And you know where your income's going to come from? High yield dividends. As much as people hate it, once that volatility ratchets up, there'll be no reason not to have high yield dividend call products. And it's going to be similar strategies to what I have set up. You buy MicroStrategy, you buy MetaPlanet for your long-term holding. You buy Bitcoin, the underlying asset. You buy your Bitcoin, you buy your Ethereum, you buy your Ripple. Long-term, that's the nucleus. Those are the things that you never sell. And then you buy the one tier out. You buy your MetaPlanets, your MicroStrategy, your Ripple once they go public, your SharpLink, Similar Scientific, what have you. 21 Capital. That's the next rung out. You're willing to sell those off if you need to. But here's the kicker. And this is the thing that's going to differentiate the wolf pack from everybody else, because we don't just run one play over here. We use all of the tools. We insulate. We make contingency. And then you make a contingency for the contingency. All laser focused around the same narrative. Then you're going to have your high yield dividend, and that's what's going to give you your paycheck every month. That's what you're going to get paid on. Then you can go do whatever you want. You go bartend a little bit, get some pocket money, some walking around money, going out money. But you don't have to. You go get a nice little job, whatever we're allowed to do. Because see, the way that I look at it, even though I don't work in an industry that's threatened by AI yet, Most of our jobs are going away. If all the jobs are gone and you can't even voluntarily go physically find something to do, then the ideology that we have to exist based on labor completely goes out of the window. So I'm just trying to front run the game. I'm going to build up a portfolio that kicks off income. And we're going to have a bunch of people that are going to have to shift onto this. Not every product's going to be good, but you see everybody being forced to talk about Misty because we are making money. We are all multiple people with multiple different strategies, and not all of us even agree. And some of y'all are out there with your handmade things, and I don't even think you're actually involved. You're just making money off YouTube. And hey, more power to you. Whatever. Thanks for supporting the movement. We're making money. We're changing our lives. Like, the high yield dividend thing has been the most, because it's newer to me, almost as pivotal and life changing as me getting into Bitcoin and going down that rabbit hole, because it's a different tool and it's allowing me to do some things that I was going to be able to do anyways in 10 to 15 in 27 months. Because once you start understanding and doing the math on this stuff, it's like, oh, okay, so like I don't have to be a multimillionaire to stop working right now. And it's like, well, if you don't have to eat your assets ever, then like you could stop working as soon as your income gets to an acceptable rate that you're covered on all your stuff with enough money left to continue building your portfolios. That's a different game. Now I don't have to worry about rushing into my crypto. Oh, you mean, okay, so like now it's okay to pivot my dividends, my DeFi cash outs into my dividend portfolio? Yeah, because once you get to X amount, you pay this debt off that you got because you want to get that done quick. That's important. Now you're free to redeploy to completely blow this portfolio out of the water. And you can use that dividend income because you're still currently going to work for a little while longer to build up all your other portfolios, and you'll be able to buy crypto in bulk, bigger buys than what you were doing. You just got to wait a little bit. Now, obviously for my crypto, my play, I'm looking at the next bull run. Like I know I'm going to do well this bull run, but as far as like what I'm going to be able to do with doing some bigger buys, being able to deploy capital in a little bit heavier fashion than what I had been, I'm looking at next bull run is because that's, I mean, I honestly, at the rate that we're going, that's probably going to be the last one that retail has an opportunity to get in the game in a meaningful way to get that meaningful life-changing payout. I mean, thank goodness we have high yield dividends though. Like you can transition and at least be in a position to get yourself in a position where you have the cash flow to consistently do some of these things and at least not have to go to work. But you gotta do, in my opinion, you have to do it all, because if you're reliant on eating your portfolio, it's going to be a not good place to be in. I mean, from what I'm seeing, people having to go back to work. We're having this tariff talk that screws the market up every couple of days until we pause it. And then we're going to do it again. The market goes down. Then they have a conversation. It's paused again, or they're working out deals, whatever. But if you're eating your portfolio, that's got to be stressful. It's got to be a bad way to live. I'm not trying to live like that. I don't want to be mad at a dude for doing his job because it affects the market in such a fashion that like, now I got to go put the fries in the bag because I thought I was retired and actually, found out that I couldn't take a 10% hit. Now I gotta go back to work. I don't have enough money this month. We want contingencies. We want things where we're not worried about selling off the portfolio. The portfolio is a catch-all if the income goes down too much. And we're overshooting the income that we need by so much that even if the income comes down, you still should have a cushion to where it would have to go catastrophic for you to need to do something else. And like, that's part of the thing. It's not doing the bare minimum to not work. It's called overextending so that you can have a good life. Like, I mean, at minimum, my minimum is the existence that I have now. That's going to be the bad month. It's like, oh, okay, we only going out. We can only go do X amount once a week, whatever, for this month. We're not trying to be like, oh, well, this is the good month. I made more than my paycheck this month. I'm gonna go ahead and tell this job where it can shove itself, and then next month I'm eating my portfolio talking about I thought I was done, because it's not consistent. So like you got to overshoot, and you got to do that with everything. Like I wouldn't, if I was at the bare minimum of what I needed crypto to be at, like I wouldn't leave the workforce, because what if it goes down? Like then you just went on an extended vacation and learned how to not work, and you really not going to want to go back then. So it's about the strategy. It's about the planning. It's about understanding what's happening and what's getting ready to happen. If Shark Link succeeds, most of you will be priced out of Ethereum as well, while you're turning your nose up at it now saying it's boring. You want to go buy a dog hat coin because you can get 50,000 of them. I'd be trying to get one Ethereum and maybe get it staked. I don't know. I'd be trying to get as many staked Ethereum as you can get. Like, I don't know. But don't say you didn't find out, because I share the information as I get it as I get it, especially stuff like this, because it's important. So something to think on, something to marinate on. We're reaching the end of the video. I mean, that's the last thing I got to say about this. But I want to remind you, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. If you've gotten value out of this, if you've gotten a little something to think about, because I just broke down. I'm going to probably do a video. I've done multiple videos on it, but I'll continue to do videos on my thought process on portfolio building, because I think it's actually important. I see a lot of people who just want to do one thing. And if that's the world that you live in, where you're just like, I got to do one thing and just stick my nose to the gridiron and do that, buy Bitcoin. like honestly, like if I was just going to be that much of a troglodyte that like I'm just stuck on that boomer plan, you just tell me what the one thing to do is and I'll just go do that, I would just buy Bitcoin. That's what I would do. That's not financial advice. That's just some random dude on the internet. But like Bitcoin has worked out for me. And I know that as long as I don't need to look at it for 4 to 5 years, it's going to be worth more and I'll be able to buy more stuff. I've seen the price of everything go down. And the crazy thing is I've seen the price of everything go down in Bitcoin. That's a thing. When I bought my house, though, it's been really interesting, because like if you actually own a house yourself, I'm not saying it like a flex, but it's just when it's yours, it's different. So like I'm seeing the dollar price of my house go up. I get notifications, hey, if you want to sell your house, and I could walk out of here with a grip of change. And there's sometimes that I think about doing it. But at the same time that I'm getting all these notifications and all these like ego reinforcements of my property going up in value, feeling good about myself because it's going up more than 4% a year. And at the same time, when I look at the value that it's worth in Bitcoin, it's going down. It's going down. I'm like, oh, so my house went up X amount. But when I look at how much it would have cost in Bitcoin to buy this house versus when I bought this house versus where it's at now, it's gone down. It costs less Bitcoin now to buy my property right now than it did when I actually bought my property. And I actually cashed out a little bit of Bitcoin to buy this house. And I tell everybody to this day, I was like, it's the first time that I sold Bitcoin, and like that was out of my long-term holdings. Like it wasn't part of a plan. It wasn't like, hey, we're setting this aside as accelerated savings. This is being acquired to be sold later. It was straight up, I was scrambling to get the down payment because it was kind of honestly, it was a snap decision. Like I decided, I was like, oh, rent's going up, COVID, we might get locked at home. I'm going to go ahead and get a house because I want my rent to go up. Because I already knew what was going on. I saw that play coming, because I was like, they're going to raise the rent. Like they're giving us a bunch of stimulus checks. These people are going to take that money. So I decided to go buy a house. So I had to scramble to get some money, but I wanted to have padding because during COVID, not the insurance company, the banks were really on you, especially me, because I bought my place alone. Like it was based off my income, my money, my job. Just me. No spouse, wasn't dual income. I didn't have my parents sign for it. I didn't have help with the down payment. Nothing. It's all on me by myself. So they were calling regularly, like, do you still have a job? Oh, do you still have a job? Like, they called me the day of closing. Do you still have a job? Not do you have the money for closing? Do you still have a job? And like, one of the things that they did get me with was they have to be able to check your bank account to make sure you have the money for the down payment. And so like, my money's all over the place because I don't keep money in the bank. And they're like, hey, do you have the money for the down payment? I'm like, yeah. And they were like, well, it's not in your bank account yet. And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, we need you to have it in the bank account so that way you can go get a cashier's check from the bank. And I was like, okay. So I start moving the money in, and I moved a little bit of extra money so that way they wouldn't have any, because like they were after they approved me, it seemed like, at least in my experience, and I'm pretty sure that it was because it was during COVID and people were getting into properties and then not having a job and they couldn't get them out. So I understand. But it seemed like after I got approved, they were just trying not to give me the money at that point because like everybody's getting laid off. And I'm pretty sure that like most of the lenders were like, yo, these people are just going to like sneak into these houses basically, or get into these houses and then figure out ways to not pay us. Not the issue with old reckless Ray DeNiro. We did not game the system like that. Like, I'll take advantage of stuff, but we ain't taking advantage of that. Like, that's crazy. Because you still end up losing the house because then you owe these balloon payments on the back end, or you owe extra once, whatever. I don't know. I know a lot of people lost their houses because these apartments around here, they were putting people up, trying to keep them off the streets. So it didn't go well for a lot of people who did that. But I got in here and I cashed out some crypto and I had to sell off a little bit of Bitcoin. And to this day, I am still salty about that I sold it, because that was literally part of my accumulation to get over a whole Bitcoin. And like, I went and bought it back, but I'm like, I didn't buy it back at the price that I had originally got it for before I sold it. So I sold off to get the property, and I didn't get it back in a timely fashion to like offset that opportunity cost, because the Bitcoin that I sold was less expensive. It cost me less for that than what I bought it back for, because I did get over my goal of a whole coin, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I regret having to do that. Like, I would have rather have just worked more. Like, I would have just Ubered. I wish I would have just Ubered a few more weekends or put in like 30 more hours Ubering. Like, I would have rather have been more tired and a little bit more worn down than have sold that Bitcoin, looking back with hindsight 2020. Now, the stuff that we do for the accelerated savings and like shifting stuff into different into the income portfolio, I'm fine about that, because we're using that to build up income, which is going to get me to not have to go to work or do things that I don't want to do. And that's one of the goals. And it's a worthwhile goal, because once I'm freed up to do stuff that I want to do, it'll be better for my mental health, or at least be in a position to where I have negotiating power, because I don't have to be here. Like, honestly, like, having that level of negotiating power is a game changer, especially if you do decide to go to work, because no one has leverage over you that you work for. At least not in that sense. Like, unless they got dirt on you or something, like, they're not going to be able to threaten you with a job. They're not going to be able to threaten you with money. You're self-sufficient. And that's kind of that's not even kind of, that's the goal that we're going for over here. We're looking for self-sufficient in a permanent basis. We deal in permanence. Like, if you want to quit working, I don't want you to have to ever go back unless you choose to. If I want to quit working, I don't want to be off for a few years and then have the market turn around and be like, oh, hat in hand, I got to go back and do this job that I don't want to do. Constantly building. We're not taking the foot off the pedal. We're just doing it a little bit different. We're going to be super smart and efficient with the money. So anyways, like I was saying, we'll see you guys next week. I went on a little bit of a rant there. For those of you who stuck around for this long, you better have hit that bell notification with all on, and you better be subscribed by now. You better be a part of the wolf pack, because we're not trying to get rich over here by ourselves. There's nothing worse than being the only person at your table who's eating good. Till next week, people, it's your boy Reckless Ray De Niro, and we are out. Peace.
Money on my mind, yeah. Focus, got no time for games, nah. I don't play, man, I'm all about that financial literacy. Investing in my future, building generational wealth. Dollar bills, they be calling my name, but I ain't chasing fame, I'm chasing change. Learn the game, now I'm playing it smart. Putting my money to work, it's an art. I'm stacking paper, building my own empire. No more living check to check, I'm getting higher. Investing in stocks, real estate, and more. Gotta secure the bag, that's what I came for.